Your story idea is titled The Voice in the Drain, and this is an edited version of your story, which you can find on our website. This episode is brought to you by our community. On our website, you'll find many more stories just like this one, written by people just like you. You can also share your own scary story for a chance to be featured on our podcast, just like these writers were. Links to our website and community can be found below. Now let's begin. I woke up because the bathroom sink was running. Not dripping, running, full blast. I live alone. The air smelled like rusted metal, heavy and wet. When I stepped out of bed, the floor was cold, too cold. I could hear someone breathing through the water, like they were speaking under it, the words drowning in the flow. I turned the faucet off, and it whispered my name. The plug hole pulled like it wanted my fingers. It started a week after I moved in. The pipes would hum late at night, like a low voice chanting. My landlord said old plumbing does that. But then the water began to talk. Not words I could understand, except sometimes my name, stretched out and wet. One night, I recorded it. When I played it back in the morning, there was a voice under mine. A woman's voice. She said, "I'm still here. Don't look down." That night, I looked. I wish I hadn't. There was no one in there. But when I lifted the drain cover, the air from the plug hole hit me like a physical blow. It smelled like stagnant water and decay. I peered inside, bracing myself. There was nothing but darkness. Frustrated, I ripped the thing out of the wall. Still nothing. I stood over the sink, screaming, "Who's there?" Silence. Then the faintest splash. I don't know how long I stood there, but eventually I went back to bed. The next morning, the bathroom was soaked. I mean, drenched. The shower was running. The taps were on. I felt sick to my stomach, like I was going to throw up. But when I leaned over the sink, I saw the most terrifying thing. My reflection wasn't looking at me. It was looking out, and it was smiling. I've never run out of a house so fast. I didn't stop running until I was miles away. I called my friend. I needed help. I needed someone who understood things like this. She came over that night and stayed with me. We talked for hours, drinking wine and watching TV, laughing, trying to forget about what we both knew was there. She told me that she thought it was a trick of the light, some weird reflection that made me think it was smiling, but I knew it was real. I mean, why else would I have reacted that way? Why else would I have run? She helped me explore the house further, uncovering all the creepy crawlies that lived there. Behind the refrigerator, underneath the floorboards, even inside the closet, where we found the scariest thing yet, a human tooth. It had come from somewhere, but where? And why? We searched everywhere, but we couldn't find the source. So we sealed up the house and waited. It took less than an hour. We heard it. The sound of nails scratching on wood, like someone trying to get out of a coffin. Then a thump, then silence. My friend and I screamed, then laughed hysterically. I felt the release of fear, the kind you get when you finally identify a noise you've been scared of. Then the front door opened. My friend and I froze, staring at the doorknob. It turned slowly, creaking on its rusty hinges. Then a hand appeared, pale and thin, like a starved animal's. My friend and I ran. We didn't dare look back. We didn't dare ask who was coming in. We didn't want to know. When I returned home later that night, it was dark. No lights were on. Then I heard footsteps on the stairs. They were slow, dragging. Whoever it was, they were struggling. I called out, but no one answered. I walked toward the noise, my heart pounding in my chest. The footsteps stopped on the floor above me. Then the floorboard creaked. Something heavy shifted. Days passed, then weeks, then months. The house became my prison. I kept myself busy during the day, leaving only when I had to. I walked around carrying a baseball bat, the one weapon that kept me sane. At night, I barricaded myself in the kitchen, eating cold beans and canned meat straight from the can. Sometimes I heard scratching at the walls or whispering coming from the vents, but it was always just out of earshot. One night, though, everything changed. I was in the corner of the kitchen, hiding between the fridge and the counter, when I heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps. They were coming down the hallway. I held my breath, listening intently. As the footsteps neared the kitchen, I peeked around the corner. No one was there. But when I stepped out into the hall, I saw them. They were coming from my room. I didn't hesitate. I sprinted down the hallway, bursting through my bedroom door. The room was empty. But when I looked down at the floor, I saw a small pile of dirt. I picked it up and rubbed it between my fingers. It was cold and damp, like from a grave. That's when I noticed the hole in the wall. It wasn't there before. I cautiously approached it, my hand outstretched. As I reached out to touch it, a raspy voice filled my head. "Hi there!" I recoiled in horror, dropping the dirt. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. I was frozen with terror. Then it spoke again. "Don't be afraid. I won't hurt you. I just want to talk." I shook my head frantically, trying to free myself from the invisible chains that bound me. "I'm not afraid of you," it hissed, and the wall exploded. It tumbled outward, revealing a cavernous void of darkness. The air grew thick and cold, and from the shadows, a single eye emerged. It glowed with an eerie green light, fixing its gaze upon me. I stumbled back, tripping over my own feet. "You called me," the voice whispered, and something slithered out of the hole. The creature was vaguely humanoid in shape, its skin a patchwork of decaying flesh and bone. Tendrils of darkness snaked around it, reaching out like grasping claws. It moved closer, and I could smell the stench of decay, and the taste of copper filled my mouth. And I realized I was bleeding. My arm was slashed open, and blood flowed freely. But it wasn't my blood. The creature advanced, its glowing eye boring into mine. "Let me help you," it rasped, and I screamed. It moved fast, impossibly fast. In one fluid motion, it lunged forward, wrapping its cold, bony fingers around my wrist. I cried out in pain as it dragged me towards the hole in the wall. It seemed to sense my fear, and a cruel smile spread across its face. But it wasn't my fear that compelled me. It was something deeper, something primal. A part of me, a dark, hidden part, wanted to go with it. To go where? I didn't know. To become what I didn't want to be. I fought against it, against the creature and against myself. I kicked, I clawed, I bit. But it was no use. It was too strong. It dragged me effortlessly through the hole and into the darkness. And then everything went black. I woke up on the floor, my head pounding. The sun streamed through the window, illuminating the room. Had it all been a dream? I checked my arm. The cut was gone. I looked around, confused. Where was the creature? Where was the hole? Had it all been in my head? Then I saw it. On the floor, nestled in the corner, was a single eye. It glowed with an eerie green light. I screamed,